Hi everyone, my name is Jacinta Ndubane. I am a registered dietitian, and today I wanted to discuss with you how the winter season can negatively impact our eating patterns and our behaviors, and thus leading to unwanted weight gain. And also, I will be discussing how we can overcome these challenges so that we're still in good health for spring and still in the weight that we wanted to be in. Let's first talk about how winter actually negatively impacts our eating patterns. Well, it does this in three ways. The first way is in how winter in itself as a season is a very cold season. So, because of the low temperatures, our natural instinct is to keep warm. So, when you're trying to keep warm, naturally you will be gravitating towards warm foods and warm meals. So you'll be avoiding meals that are typically very cold. For example, you might maybe not want to have a smoothie for breakfast when it's winter because it's so cold and the ingredients are always so cold and chilled. And also, you might want to avoid having, say, yogurt and a fruit salad in the morning because the yogurt is from the fridge and it's all cold. So, to avoid feeling that very low temperature, you might gravitate towards maybe having something like a toasted sandwich, with ham and tomatoes and cheese, or you might want to have a muffin or pancakes. And even for lunches and dinners, instead of going for what you normally would have in the warmer months, such as a tuna salad, for example, you might gravitate more towards more richer meals like rich pasta dishes with the cheese sauce or a hearty stew. Or sometimes you might just want to have a creamy soups, like a creamy butternut soup. So we tend to gravitate towards meals that are more richer, meaning they're very dense in calories because they are the foods that we associate with feelings of being warm. And so we'll move away from the meals that actually help with weight management and weight loss. So that is the first way in which winter can actually get us eating differently to how we would normally eat in the warmer months. And also, on the topic of the meals that are warm and rich, you might find yourself drinking more warm beverages or hot beverages. For instance, someone who typically doesn't drink that much tea or coffee might find themselves now drinking more of the coffees and the teas. And for a lot of people, drinking tea and coffee means more sugar, more milk. So you might not end up taking in more sugar because you're drinking more coffee or because it's winter. So now you've increased your sugar intake. You're now increasing the energy and the calories. And worse yet, in some instances, some individuals will even go for the hot chocolates. Someone might even go with the pre-mixed coffee sachets, like the cappuccinos. And we all know what that goes with. It also goes with some rusks and scones, and which is all very typical of the winter season. So, in trying to get warm or trying to feel warm, we might be taking in way more calories than we did previously in the warmer months. So, that is the first way that the season can actually get us eating in a way that could lead to weight gain. The second way in which winter can get us eating in a way that we wouldn't normally be eating, like in the warmer months, is how it is typically known as the colds and flu season. Okay, so in winter, we find ourselves having more sick days. Okay, you might catch a flu, you might get a cold, and we all know when we're feeling sick, you're not really energetic and in the mood to go and exercise. So when you're sick, that means that less physical activity will take place. And if you are someone who previously used to go to the gym or jog, that might not happen. So if you get sick quite a lot, I mean, you get the flu early in winter, and again as winter wears out, you might be spending a lot of time not working out because you're feeling sick. And something else about being sick is that we crave comfort food. So now we're back to the rich meals. So we're back to the hearty stews. We're back to the comfort meals, the rich pasta dishes. And also, when you're sick, you're more likely to have flu concoctions. So you might be drinking your concoction, your hot water with lemon, ginger, garlic, and what do we add? Honey. Honey helps fight off colds and flus. But now it's a catch-22 because honey is also very dense and high in sugar. So now you're eating and drinking more sugar because you've got a flu. So your calories are going up and now you're gaining weight, all because you're treating an infection. So the sick days in themselves also contribute to how we eat and some of the beverages that we're taking in. So that's the second way that winter can throw us off our patterns, by the sick days. Okay, now the other way is how in winter we get less vitamin D exposure. Now this happens as a result of putting on a bit more clothes, so a little bit more jackets and jerseys, we wear boots, beanies. This means that we're getting less exposure to sunlight, which helps us in increasing our vitamin D levels. So if you're not getting enough sunlight exposure, you're more likely to be deficient in vitamin D. So then what does vitamin D have to do with our eating patterns and behaviors in winter? Well, if you are deficient or you are lacking in vitamin D, it has been shown that you're more prone to sore muscles, painful joints, bones, and also a lot of fatigue. So if you're feeling sore, if your body's sore, again, you're less likely to want to engage in exercise. So because you're feeling sore, because you're deficient in vitamin D, less physical activity. Something else that vitamin D has been associated with, or rather the lack thereof, is as a weakened immune response. So if you have a weakened immune response, it means you're more likely to catch infections such as colds and flus. So because now you've got a weaker immune system, we're back to the sick days again. And what happens on sick days? Comfort foods, flu concoctions, all that honey, and all that rich meals and beverages that are previously discussed, to say they also contribute to high energy intake during the month of winter. And this is happening because your immune system is weakened by a lack of vitamin D. And another thing that can happen due to having low vitamin D levels is feeling a bit more depressed, feeling a bit more blue, under the weather, all because of a lack of vitamin D. And what happens when we're feeling under the weather? We gravitate towards comfort food. Okay, so all of these factors come together in affecting how we eat and what we drink, and also limited physical activity. So we exercise less in winter, we eat more rich meals, and we drink also very rich beverages. And also with the flu concoctions, we could be adding a little bit too much honey and end up with a lot of sugar in our diets. And all these factors, they come in contributing to unwanted weight gain. And also, even if you're not concerned too much about weight, even your health can be negatively impacted by changes in eating patterns. I know when spring season comes up, I see more cases of high cholesterol in patients who previously reported not having high cholesterol, only to find that during the winter months, the same patients were drinking a bit more coffee and tea, and were adding coffee creamers. Now, coffee creamers contain a very bad fat that can raise blood cholesterol. So if you find yourself in winter now drinking more coffee, more tea, more pre-mixed cappuccinos and commercial beverages, you might actually end up with high cholesterol come spring. Okay, so this is why it's important to really check that our eating patterns are not negatively impacted throughout the season. How can we do that? And I'm going to give you some tips now on how to overcome these challenges that are brought by winter. All right, great. So now that we know how the winter season can negatively impact our eating patterns and lead to unwanted weight gain, what can we do about it? How can we overcome these challenges and make sure that we are still on the right path with our diet and our weight and our health? Well, I've got 5 tips to share. The first tip is to set goals, very clear goals. Merely saying, I want to lose 5 kilograms in winter is not good enough. You need to know why you want to lose these 5 kilograms. When are you going to start exactly? The first week of winter, second month of winter, and with who? Are you going to have help? Are you going to have support? What research or tools are you going to use to lose weight? What are you going to do differently this time that is going to help you lose weight that you haven't done before, or that you have done before that you want to do again? So your goals have to be very smart, in terms of being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So make sure that you set clear goals in winter. Most of the time you find that we already had goals in the beginning of the year, but over the months, they've somehow fizzled out. We've forgotten about them. So it might be good as well to just revisit some of those goals that we set in the beginning of the year and see if we can resuscitate them and get back on that wagon. So great, we are setting goals. The next tip I can give you is to support your immune system. Like I mentioned, that winter is associated with more sick days. So you might want to get a supplement for vitamin D. Now, you might wonder, why should I get a supplement for vitamin D? Can't I just get it from my diet? Well, we do get foods that are rich in vitamin D, such as fatty fish, including tuna, salmon. You also get eggs that also have vitamin D. You also get mushroom that also has vitamin D. But the form in which the vitamin D is in this food is called vitamin D2. So vitamin D2 is not bioavailable in the body. The body can't use it to carry out its functions. The vitamin D2 still needs to be converted into vitamin D3 into the body so that the body can use it. So how does it get converted? Through sunlight exposure. And like I've said, in winter, we're all wearing a lot of clothes, not getting enough sunlight exposure. So you might be Googling foods to eat to increase my vitamin D. You've got your list ready and you've eaten them, but you're still low on vitamin D. It's mainly because the form in which it's in is not readily available for the body because of a lack of sunlight exposure. So once you get exposure to sunlight with the vitamin D, it gets converted into vitamin D3. And that is the bioavailable form. So that is the form that I recommend that you supplement with, because you cannot get vitamin D3 in food. Okay, so you can supplement with vitamin D3. And to take it a step further, you might want to get a vitamin D3 supplement that is coupled with vitamin K2, because studies have also found that vitamin K2 helps the body readily use this vitamin D3 that we get in supplements. So that's something that you might want to look into. So what about the other immune boosting nutrients? We look at vitamin C. It's a very popular one. Around this time, you'll see that TV adverts are going to start showing a lot of effervescent tablets that you can just put in water and drink. You're going to see lots of vitamin C supplements on the market. Should you take one? Well, there's no harm in taking vitamin C tablets. However, when it comes to vitamin C, I'm a bit different. Unlike vitamin D, I think you can get enough vitamin C from your food. So foods that are really high in vitamin C include citrus. You'll see every supermarket right now has a lot of citrus fruits available, from oranges to narkies. You're going to find grapefruit, lots of citrus fruit that you can buy. So citrus is your go-to, along with strawberries. Strawberries are also a very good source of vitamin C that you can add to your breakfasts as well, or as a snack. Also, bell peppers. Bell peppers are a good source of vitamin C, so you can also add them to some of your meals. So when it comes to vitamin C, it's up to you. There's no harm in taking the vitamin C supplements, but also even if you didn't, if your diet is really rich in these vitamin C rich foods, you'll be getting enough of this immune boosting nutrient. All right, so now you've got your vitamin C, you've got your vitamin D. What about those flu concoctions that I mentioned earlier? You can also have a concoction where you boil your ginger, your garlic, and your lemon, and you drink that. Should you add honey? Well, I wouldn't regularly add honey to my flu concoctions on a preventative in a preventative way. I wouldn't take that every day to prevent colds and flus. I would rather reserve honey for days that I do feel sick and I do have a flu, and then honey will help me to recover. But knowing that it really does have a lot of those calories, I would rather have my beverages without it, just to make sure that I'm not taking in more calories than I actually need. Right, so that's the second tip. Support your immune system. Now, the third tip that I have is to stay active. Get moving. Don't stop. Okay, remember I said it's a bit cold, so no one's really in the mood to wake up in the morning and go jogging, or after work to go run. It gets dark so early, and so we end up not exercising like we previously did in the warmer months. So this is the time while now we have to think of other ways to get ourselves moving. Maybe you can make use of the gym at work, and maybe during your lunchtime, spare some, say maybe 30 minutes to be on the treadmill. Or if you work very strict hours during the week, capitalize on weekends. You can't go running at 5 and 6 a.m. anymore, maybe go at 8. And if you can't do it in the evenings, maybe start jogging earlier, maybe around 3 or 4 p.m. It's not as cold and it's not as dark. So you might want to think outside the box. And also, if you're really struggling with the motivation, get some friends to join you. See if you can't join groups that have challenges for winter to work out. So anything just to keep you motivated, to keep active. Remember, staying active is also something that will help your immune system, and this will also help you to not get so sick. Like I've mentioned already, that sick days are also going to contribute to unhealthy eating patterns. So whatever you do, stay active, don't stop. And what about the fourth tip? When it comes to your meals, this is a tricky one. When it comes to your meals, be creative. I know in winter we all want those rich meals that I've just mentioned, and we all want to drink that rich cappuccino and things like that. But we're going to have to be creative with our meals. So instead of, say, maybe for breakfast going for a toasted sandwich that's really high in calories and fatty cheese and things like that, you might go for oats. Okay, oats is nice and warm, it's a porridge. What I love about it is that it's high in fiber, it's low GI, and it's really filling. So you could make your oats with low-fat milk. You can add your strawberries, which also have vitamin C, remember, and you can also mix in some nut butter, or you can add some seeds, and you can have that for breakfast, and you wouldn't have to feel guilty. All right, and you would have boosted your immune system. So try something like that. And also for your lunches, a lot of people will try to stay away from salads in winter, like I've mentioned. They want something a bit warmer. Well, you can actually try what I call a warm salad. A warm salad is one where you use vegetables that you can actually roast, unlike a cucumber and lettuce, you can't put that in the oven, but you can roast butternut. So maybe you can have a roast chicken and butternut salad. Or you can go for a grain that is high in fiber. I think of quinoa right now. Quinoa is a grain that is very high in fiber. It's low calorie as well, and it also has a bit more protein than most grains. So it's a good one to add to your salad. So you can have some chicken, quinoa, and butternut, and all the other fresh vegetables in your salads this winter. So warm salads or warm bowls are what you can be looking into in terms of lunches. And also, what about dinners? Okay, so we've spoken about the oats for breakfast. We've spoken about the lunches where you can have your warm salads. Winter dinners don't have to be any different. They can also be warm, but with less calories. So instead of going for the typical pasta dishes, your chicken Alfredo, your spaghetti bolognese with all the right sauces in the right places, you can try something like a stir fry. You can have, say, maybe prawn stir fry, chicken stir fry, using lean chicken strips, and your bell peppers for vitamin C. You can use that, and because it's a nice warm dish, and you can serve that, say, maybe with sweet potato mash. Sweet potatoes are high in beta carotene, which is a form of vitamin A, which is also an antioxidant that will also boost your immune system. So you could look into foods like that. And also, if you do grains, doesn't mean you have to stop eating rice. You can always have high fiber grains. So instead of a normal rice, go for brown rice, wild rice. Okay, try to increase the fiber of your grains this winter so that you know that you are actually getting in that fiber that you need, but also it's good for your blood glucose control and you won't gain too much weight from having those grains. So be creative there as well with the meals. And if you're struggling putting together a meal plan that will sustain you through winter, you might want to contact me for something that is a bit more personalized for you. But those are just some ideas that you can look into. And then the last tip, do not give up. Okay, stay motivated. Most of the time, our plans fail because we quit too easy. The first week of winter, it was so cold, or there's a lot of rain, and you can't go out to exercise like you said you would. You didn't eat the way you thought you would. So now you're like, okay, this is not gonna work. I'll try again next winter. Don't do that, okay? Keep trying. If the first week didn't work out, try again in the next week, okay? And if that doesn't work out, try again in the next week. And if you're really struggling, maybe it's time you go back to your goals and you have a look at the goals that you've set for yourself. Are they really realistic? Did you make them realistic for yourself, and are they achievable? You don't have to have these huge goals that you really are going to struggle to achieve to the point where you demotivate yourself. Make them small, make small goals and build on them as you reach the small goals. Have short-term goals as well, and then you can achieve your long-term goals. All right, so stay motivated. Talk to friends and family members. See if you can't do this together. Eating healthy, working out, boosting your immune system, and doing things differently this time around, this winter. Because what I find in practice is that come spring, I get a lot of patients for weight loss. And when I find out that this weight was gained just now in winter, I get so surprised. I'm like, wow, it was only 12 weeks and you gained so much weight. And even people who started off very well in the beginning of the year, they've got the right resolutions going. Winter is that stumbling block that gets them. Okay, it doesn't have to happen to you. So make sure that you go back to the drawing board just to make sure that this winter you know how you're going to be eating, you know you have your exercise plan in place. And also with the water drinking, with the beverages, remember some people stop drinking water. They say it's too cold, I can't drink water, and I hate hot water or warm water. Again, like I said, be creative a bit on the meals. You might want to add a slice of lemon, more vitamin C for you, so that at least you keep drinking your water. So make sure that you keep hydrated, you're eating right, your immune system, you've got your right supplements in place, and like I said, you're still active and you don't give up. You keep up that motivation. If you do that, you won't have any rebound weight gain to work through in spring. And also your health will still be in check. Remember I said some of the decisions and the foods that we eat in winter can negatively affect our glucose, it can even negatively affect our cholesterol, even our blood pressure. So you don't want to be battling a new disease come spring. All right, so that's the tips I have for you. I hope they're going to help you and make things differently this time around. If you struggle, do let me know. But that's all I have for you. Thank you so much.